It's time. So there are three types of love. There is love as a thirst. We spoke a lot about it yesterday and today as well. Love as a thirst destroys life. If a person desires love strongly, it's a matter of time before they lose everything. There is love as service. This is when you've understood how to love. Simply knowledge has come to you. We've gotten tired of each other, and there are two options. Either to divorce, we've already tried and nothing good came of it, or the second option, to just decide that at least one person out of the two should be happy, and it's not me, as we thought before, but my close person. Having studied what a woman needs, I just start doing it. I don't need it, but she does, and I start, my dear. Yes, I agree with everything. Thank you. I love you. You are the best in the world for me. Is this the truth? No, it's love. It's a falsehood. People want the truth, so there will be no love. People want love, there will be love. There will be love because the time comes and she becomes like this for me. The best, the most dear, the most beautiful. Because I tell her so, I serve like this, and she becomes like this. The same is said by a woman. You will be able to do everything without problems. I had an instance. I approached one of my acquaintances and said, "How's your man? Who doesn't want to work?" She says, "But he wants to, he's good." I ask, "Is he working?" "No, but he wants to." I saw that she got her mindset right. She began to believe in her husband, and then he found a job, and everything started to go well. That's the spirit. He's really nothing special as a man, not at all. And boom, he started to develop. Cool. Such an unexpected night's move in life. This is called love service. It's always like a feat. Here's another example. I just remembered another example. I'm bringing you a paradoxical example, hard to believe, but this is real life. I have an acquaintance, a woman whose husband left her with 4 children. She's very active, joyful, loves everyone. She can't work because the kids are too small. It's impossible to work. They're always taking her energy. Very small children, under 5 years old. Very small. Left them, can you imagine? What a fool. She doesn't get down at all. She's happy, joyful. I ask her, "How do you live?" She says, "What do you mean?" I ask, "Where do you get money?" "Oh, that," she says, "I don't even think about it." "So what do you think about?" "Well, I have it all planned out. I need to help this person." She's doing it all day long. They just constantly bring things to her, but that's not what surprised me. She calls me and says, "We need to treat one person." I say, "You know, our treatment is not free. We have a lot of specialists involved. It requires a personalized approach. Will he be able to pay?" She says, "No." I say, "Well, then how are we going to treat him?" She says, "Don't worry at all. I will raise the money for his treatment." I'm like, "Oh wow." I say, "All right, fine. We'll give a discount." My mind starts working immediately. If you're going to collect the money, then I don't agree for you to collect the full amount. Let him get treated at cost price. And in just a few days, she already transferred the money. She doesn't work, has 4 small children. Some people would hang themselves in such a situation. She doesn't care at all. I'm sure she is already married. Such a woman is needed by everyone. I mean, surely no one would leave such a woman alone. That's just unrealistic. And that's it. Everything depends on how you accept your fate. If you're like, hooray, you care about everyone, serve everyone, then that's one option. But if you're tied to your own happiness, then it's another option. So there is love desire, love pleasure, love faith in people, not in God. There is love service, which happens through knowledge, meaning you need to change your consciousness, start living this way. It's a leap into the abyss. No one does this. My close person, they don't care, they don't serve me, but I serve them. I believe it will be like this. First, there will be gratitude in their heart. Then I will start educating them. And this education plus service leads them to having respect for me. I also develop respect for them, then further loyalty, and gradually both the relationship and the person next to you evolve. And love desire always leads to one option. It's like, I wish. And there's a third kind of love. It's entirely unattainable. It simply happens by the grace of God. This is called love reward and love faith in God. That is, this is the true pure love. When it comes to a person, they are freed from all this material existence. They go into the spiritual reality. There's no birth, death, or old age there. There is only love and eternal life in this love. You see, this is the highest reward, because you understand what love is at the highest level, started living this way, gave yourself to God. He rewarded you with love for him, showed himself to you, and you, having seen God, realized, that's it. I don't need anything else. I'm not eating chocolate anymore. You began to serve God and forgot about everything, and then went into the spiritual reality, which is already a miracle. We can't even dream about this. Whom God chooses, he gives such love for himself. It's his choice. Well, people should strive to go this way. We must try. So what does the first kind of love lead to? Memory is a cruel master. It awakens the past. What is memory? Memory is a force that leads us on the road of fate. Fate always follows belief. What a person believes, there goes their fate. Believing in another person means that fate leads them to defeat. That is, there will be memory. It says, come here. You remember that you were left. You want to look at the plains to calm down. No, remember that you were abandoned. And the plains become gloomy. A person cannot see them, these gloomy plains. I'm already thirsting to forget this. I don't want to remember about the betrayal and this love. I don't want to. I'm tired of it. I don't want to. No, you will remember. Why? Because such is your belief. You believe in a person, not in God. How I thirst amidst the gloomy plains to forget betrayal and love, yet my memory is a cruel master. Memory is a master. It leads a person down the path of fate. What you believe in, that you will remember. Everything from the past will awaken once more. He says, you wanted to remember this, so suffer. You don't want to remember God. You don't want to live selflessly for others. Do you want to live for yourself? Do you want to accumulate wealth? Though this is necessary, do you desire this? Well, how can one have no one to love? There is nature. Love nature. It will heal you. There are good people. Love them. If someone has left you, it means you got in a relationship with a bad person who is not worthy of your love. There is God whom one must love eternally. I have no time, no one else to love. A person thinks either I love this person or that's it. I have nowhere to rush to. I need the person. That's it. Faith in a person. Without another person, I can't survive. That's it. So God, either give me a person or essentially I'm dying. Faith in a person destroys life. A person can end their life with suicide. You can believe not only in a wife, you can believe in a son. I have an acquaintance. He believed in his son, and the more he believed in his son, the more the son began to use drugs. Later, he started to pray for his son to stop using drugs. He prayed and prayed, but he never started to believe in God. As a result, he ended his life by suicide. He left a note. No one hears my prayers. That's it. The person departed from this life. Why? He believed in his son, but one must believe in God. It's terrifying. Prayer will naturally not work in this case, because prayers work when you believe in God, not in your son. When you think of God, it becomes easier for the son. When you think of the son, it gets worse for everyone. What does faith as service look like? Faith as service. We are now using songs to understand this approximately. Somewhere a bagpipe weeps. Forgive me for love, I can't do otherwise. I'm not afraid of offenses and quarrels. That's the right kind of love. Song. Offenses will vanish in the river. There's so much space in the sky for such love. My heart is not made of stone. If you get sick, I'll come. I'll disperse the pain with my hands. I'll manage everything. I can do everything. My heart is not made of stone. What does love reward and love service to God look like? Love for God comes through a holy person. When someone has loved a holy person, it means they already love God, even if they don't know it themselves. I like the faith you have to fall at his feet. I just wish to be by his side, just to be near, close in the heart, within the heart. The spirit of service, the spirit of service. Song. To become a cloud shielding from harm. to become the wind humming your songs, to burn as a candle above a book, or as a droplet of water to spill after you at the same place, to become a cloud shielding from harm, to become the wind humming your songs, to burn as a candle above a book, or as a droplet of water, to spill after you at the same place. Such a thirst, a powerful love for holiness, for a holy person, for a sacred being. It grants immense strength. How do people with such feelings relate to one another? Let's say a husband and wife. How do they see the world? How do they resonate with everything around? They see the world as truly beautiful. They are in awe of it. They wish to serve God. They just think of Him, but what they lack is faith. They thirst specifically for faith. They need nothing more, not the wife who left, nor a friend. It's faith they're missing. Everything else is wonderful. When one only lacks faith, the world around becomes beautiful. People are great. If I'm struggling, that's my fate. I accept it. Fantastic. There are no issues either. What are people rebelling against? They don't want hardships. They want things to be good. But those who live by faith don't just want things to be good. They want to serve. Different desires altogether. Mostly, everyone wants things to be good for themselves. But those who wish to serve, they don't need anything. They simply wish to serve everyone, and that's it. And life becomes beautiful. They find joy in everything because the whole world is grateful to them. They feed the birds, and the birds are happy. They feed a beggar, and the beggar rejoices. They wish happiness for all, and people are also happy. Pure joy is everywhere. When one starts to serve others, happiness chases after them. If one seeks happiness, the happiness runs away because happiness is God's spouse. She doesn't belong to you. She belongs only to God. If you try to grab her for yourself, she will flee from you. But if you wish to serve her, she will chase after you. If you live not for yourself but for others, then happiness will chase you. In the clearings, on the sweet grasses, under the open bright sky. We'll breathe and laugh, run through forest trails, through colorful fragrant paths, over mountains' high cliffs. We'll see His infinity and freeze in a brown-eyed gaze. How much money do you need to run over cliffs, mountains, through forest trails? How much does it cost? None, just go and run, enjoy. Who's stopping you? Money's for other things. It's not needed to be happy, you understand? To love each other, to take joy in each other, to delight in God, to pray for all, wish happiness for everyone. Everything's free. Happiness doesn't cost a thing. Of course, you need money for food, housing. That's different. It comes naturally when you're in the right mindset. Everything sticks to you because you become a sweet person. If you want 2 hours of such joy, listening to such voices, the Divya Rosa ensemble, who sings all this, will soon be visiting. Listen to them. They sing about God, about morals. All these wonderful songs come from them.
Audience, what's the name? Speaker, Divya Rosa. I think there's even an ad for them in the foyer, right? Do you have an advertisement? When they are coming, I'm not even sure. When? Response, they're coming in April. Speaker, they'll be here in April. So come, listen, and enjoy.
You'll see these people, they'll show you by their example, it's a husband and wife. They'll show you their relationship. You'll see how they live, how they love each other. You'll see for yourself, no need to imagine. From their relationship, from their songs, you'll see how they are, how they live, and the result. Everyone loves them. They love everyone. Everyone loves them. Cool, right? It happened in Chelyabinsk. I came to Chelyabinsk to give lectures. After the lecture, the organizers asked, Oleg Gennadievich, can you listen for 5 minutes? I have friends. They've composed songs for you. They sing. I thought, oh Lord, I'm so exhausted. Maybe I should go to sleep. I said, okay, I can listen for 5 minutes. And then it started. They sat, so humble, and when they sang, I was like, another song, another song, another song, yet another song. For a whole hour, I was like, wow. And immediately invited them to our festival. They, all right. They arrived, and everyone there was all ears. People are just wired to spread happiness, you understand? Instantly, everyone loved them. Such unique individuals. The purpose of human life is love. And we need to learn to love. Without love, we can't live. We need love. Love for a person. Don't give up on loving someone. Whether they left you or not, it doesn't matter. Just don't give up. As for friends, don't abandon your love for them. Just understand that they might never grasp your love. You have to find someone who understands. A saintly person will understand your love. God will understand your love, but not common people. People aren't capable of valuing human love. They might love passionately, but they can't truly value love. So, where does the suffering come from? It's from the lack of appreciation. That's what causes pain. They didn't value your love. My love, they didn't value it, because they can't. People can't truly value love. They can't even, not just value, they can't handle it. They simply can't bear it. A person can't withstand such intensity. So, you need to start by learning, who are these saintly people? Read about the lives of saints. Begin watching films about saintly individuals. Get attached, get drawn to sanctity. Feel those who know God, who valued love. Those who know what love is. Those who will never betray. A saintly person will never ever betray. It's impossible. That's the criteria. And even just people who interact with saintly individuals. 1 out of 2 in a family. Just 1. When they start living with their spouse, the power of sanctity enters the home. A woman approached me saying, Oleg Gennadievich, we lived normally. He's a good person. I'm a good person. We have 2 kids. We worked and cared for each other. Why did he leave me? I said there was only one reason. You were heading in the wrong direction in your life. She asks, where should we go in life? I said, in life, you should move towards God, not towards a person, not towards a family, not a house, not a job, not a firm, not an advanced qualification, not higher education. In life, you should be heading towards God. And if a person doesn't turn to God, this whole world is designed in a way that everything around you falls apart. That's how things work here, you understand? And then in this situation, in this case, he's asking me, how does this mechanism work? I say, it's quite simple. It does work. You immerse into one another and drain each other out. Life becomes increasingly hard for you. You don't know why, but you start feeling uneasy being with that person. Intimate relationship is over because it just feels off. You can't communicate with each other. You begin living without talking. You just don't communicate anymore. Everything comes to an end. Why? Because you drain each other out. One person can't fulfill another. It's a closed system. You should have taken from God and given to people. Take from God and give to others. That's the right system. He sends gratitude back and things start moving. No matter how much love is between you, it needs external support. You take from God and give it away. You take from friends and give to people. You constantly need to give to your close ones. Always give to your husband, to kids, pour into them, and expect nothing in return. If gratitude comes, great, it's yours. When I was in university, I really wanted my professors to like me. I really liked being loved. And I tried so hard, not just for the grade, but just so they would see I was a good person and give me an A. I had a friend who simply studied subjects because he needed to treat people. I also treated people, but that's a different story. I mainly studied to show I was a good person. I studied, and when I went to take exams, I pushed so hard with this I'm a good person thing. They constantly grilled me, one question after another. My friend was never grilled. He'd say, hello, respectfully to the professors, I'm so glad to see you. I'll answer to the best of my ability. And they'd say, go ahead. Don't be shy. Speak. So he'd start talking and he'd focus on the essence of the subject. He didn't learn the details. They saw he got the main idea and they'd move on. Next question, and A. And there I was, having studied everything in detail. They'd ask me the tiniest of things. I got the grade C. After the exam, he has one more A, and I have another C. I was a C student in university. I thought, what the heck? How is this even possible? I couldn't understand. The reason was that I was too attached to the grade and to being well regarded. I was hung up on that. This attachment created resentment from the teachers and it ruined my life. They just felt uneasy giving me a good grade. It just felt off to them because I wasn't self-sufficient. His motivation was simply the desire to learn and become an educated person, to help people. My desire to help people wasn't tied to my studies. It lived in my heart on its own. I knew that the act of helping would bring knowledge. In my free time, I would go and help people every day, and I gained knowledge directly from them. So I help them and see how to do it better. That's how I grew as a doctor. But my studies didn't really assist me in that. It provided a perspective. It's necessary and helpful for sure, but the real ability to help was born from the act of helping itself. That's how it happened for me in life. But for him it was different. For him it came from studying. People are diverse. What am I getting at with all this? I'm saying that we have a nagging pain inside which is called I want everything to be good. That's the nagging pain. And this nagging pain makes everything bad. You see, I explained to this woman, listen to me. If you want, I'll draw you a picture of how you could save your family. Set up an altar at home. Start cooking not for your husband, but pray to God while preparing, offering the food to God first in your heart. Put the food on the altar before eating. Give it to your husband. He'll be charged with this selfless energy. This charge of selfless energy means that the tension between you two will instantly reduce. You understand? Because tension is greed, it accumulates. I want something from my wife, she wants something from me. This imbalance builds up between us. She's not giving enough, I'm not giving enough. It builds up over many years and results in, I can't live with this person anymore. What should I do? People ask me, I can't live with this person. What should I do? Yesterday someone asked me this. I replied, you need to think of God. He said, what does God have to do with it? I just can't live with this person. Explain what I should do with them. I said, you don't need to do anything with them. You can't change them anymore. It'll only get worse. Don't push them. Think of God and bless the food. Why? When he eats that blessed food, the greed between you will decrease. This means the atmosphere will relax, become lighter, and the home's vibe will change. Explain what you mean by reduced greed. The atmosphere will improve. A person eats blessed food and becomes joyful. Right now, I'm being fed blessed food, and after eating, I started cracking jokes to everyone. I felt the urge to do something for them. I had one chocolate left, so I started sharing it. I gave one to you, the other to them. That's the effect of blessed food. It inspires the desire to do something for others. That's it. This feeling of, you didn't give me enough. This feeling of resentment, thinking, I'm unlucky, I am unfortunate with this person. It passes. Things get easier. Eventually, people start to live feeling better, beginning to care for others. Read about the lives of holy people in the evenings. Sit the kids down and read to them. The most important thing to give a child is a taste for holiness. Everything else will follow. The scriptures say, if a person has access to a large river, wells aren't needed. That's all. Wells, what are they? It's maths, physics, chemistry, biology, so many different directions of knowledge that a person attaches to. You understand? Give them a taste of God. Give them that feeling. A taste of God brings a conscience. Humans have conscience, right? A mother says, do you have a conscience? You should be going to college, slacker. Why are you lying on the bed? He studied biology, chemistry, and physics, but it didn't stir his conscience. If a person, a child, listened about the lives of holy people in the evenings, instead of these computer games, that desire to win, they think it will foster in them the desire to win. But even a cockroach has it. It's an innate desire. No need to nurture it. It's a survival instinct. Even a cockroach, it wants to triumph. Every cockroach wants to win. What are you turning your kid into? A cockroach, huh? Zoom, zoom. They need to develop a desire for purity. And once the child develops the desire for purity, there's a conscience. That's it. Their conscience will guide them on what to do next in life. Just go to him and say, son, if you keep lying on the bed, you'll be useless in life. You'll bring no good. There'll be no happiness. He asks, Mom, what should I do? Go to college. All right. He goes to college to study. Why? He wants to be of use. That's how it was for me. In 7th grade, I had bad grades. I knew why I needed them. But I knew I needed to help people in life. Mom said, you can't help people without a degree. You need an education. She convinced me of that. By 10th grade, I got a diploma with honors, and that's it. Why? Because I realized I needed to help people, and for that, these grades were needed. I didn't need to know how parameciums reproduce, but I needed to know it to get into a medical university to help people. And I learned how a paramecium reproduces and what kind of worms are in the butt, what types there are. Well, I needed to know that too back then. Motivation is the key. Motivation or life's purpose. You need to instill a life's purpose in a child. It's fostered by the purity of the home atmosphere. Like, you walk into a flat and you can't eat there. You eat and everything comes back up, you feel sick. Remember? Ever had that in your life? You visited somewhere, ate at someone's place and felt nauseous. Not that the food was bad, but the atmosphere was defiled. You ate and felt sick, or you ate at some restaurant, felt nauseous and got sick. Why? Because the mood of the person who cooked was off. They lived in a bad mood. A bad atmosphere in a flat means there's no God there. No other reason. You'll say, maybe someone cast an evil eye on this flat, ruined it. Maybe some old witch dropped some hair or nails there. And just like that, the entire atmosphere is rotten. This is called belief in evil forces. There are 3 types of faith. Belief in evil forces. People sincerely believe that if someone throws nails and hair under the apartment, everything in the apartment will instantly rot. Everything will immediately turn bad and everyone will perish from this hair and nails. That is, people believe that there are such evil forces. You've been cursed. That's it. Why is this happening to me? Why do I feel so bad? You've been cursed. That's it. An old lady comes to the doctor and says, something's wrong. I can't urinate. And how old are you? 80 years old. The urine has run out. The same thing. You've been cursed. You can't do anything about it. Cursed. This is called belief in evil forces. Will you remember it? A person believes in all this nonsense. You are going through a bad period. Why is everything so bad? Because it's a bad period. Is there a curse in this world? Yes, there is. How does it work? A husband left his wife and she has small children, can't work, they have nothing to eat. She says, at least pay child support or we will die. He looks at her, well, die all without me, and leaves. And she, not that she really wanted to, she's a good person, but it burst out of her heart. You'll die yourself. She didn't want to, but he died. Why? Because that is the will of God. If you committed an evil act and a person gave it back to you, it will be executed by God. You committed an evil, something burst out of your heart, and you didn't want it. It will be executed. So, it's better that nothing bursts out. Later, you yourself will feel unpleasant. Well, not to the extent of you really died. I wanted you to die just a little, and it turned out for real. I wasn't expecting that. But he really left you, so he really died as a result. I'm telling you real things. You understand? Curses do exist, but only if there are reasons when you've done some evil deed. A person stabs someone in the stomach, and the latter, dying, thinks, you will answer for this. He will definitely answer 100%. It's already a mark on a person's forehead. There are no chances to get rid of it. It's called a curse, but it happens only when there are reasons. Suppose you were cursed, and for what? Just like that. That doesn't happen, you were deceived. This is called belief in evil forces. Now you will say, but why does it still work? I will explain. Suppose you went to some old lady, a fortune teller, and these old ladies look a certain way. They constantly mutter to themselves. This means that she has such a belief. Belief in malevolent forces, and she imparts this belief onto you. You say, what's happening to me? You've been jinxed, my dear. And she will prove it to you, because evil spirits also have a sensitivity to a person's fate. They see it through her eyes. Through the eyes of the spirits, she will tell you about certain people in your life, but she will draw the wrong conclusions. She'll tell everything as it is, but the conclusion will be incorrect. That's it, you believed in the evil forces. If you believe in evil forces, then things will happen as you believe. That's what the Vedas say. If you believe that you've been jinxed, then it will be as they told you, that's it. If you don't believe in it and believe in God instead, then nothing will affect you. Remember, believing in evil forces is like saying, everything in our country is bad, everything is falling apart, the government is bad, all the people are bad, lazy, living in this city is impossible, it's full of drunks, the city has been drowned in wine. You understand? It means believing in evil forces, not knowing your city, your people. My white city, you are a stone flower, washed by a kind sunny rain. You've been caressed by the winds for centuries. Like a song, you live in my heart. My warm city, different thinking. One sees one thing, another, something else. Audience, when I left the Soviet Union 25 years ago, it was really a beautiful city. Lecturer, and now it's a beautiful city, a great city. I like it. Gorgeous city, excellent. Great people, very beautiful. I like the city, I like everything about it. And if you don't like it, then that's your problem. My dear friends, your love will give this city a dawn, and your curse will cause it to wither. Choose what you want. I love your city more than you do. What's the matter? I am told that everything is bad here. There's no economy. The vineyards have been robbed. I was coming here from Odessa. Vineyards, vineyards, gardens, gardens, all along the way without a break. At every step along the road, I've never seen anything like it in the Krasnodar region. I think to myself, wow. Such hard-working people. What I saw are gardens everywhere. You might ask, is it only on this side, Oleg Gennadyevich? I don't know about the other side, but where I traveled, there were gardens, not a single empty space. Along the whole road, walnut trees are growing in alleys. Why didn't they think of doing the same in the Krasnodar territory? The temperature is the same. We could have planted walnut trees along the roads instead of poplars. Such a wonderful country, such kind-hearted people. Stop remaining in a state of disappointment. You are extinguishing your own life's flame. Rise up against this mood. Stand strong. When I was little, my family was in a very tough situation, alcoholism and all that. Life was so hard. But I stood up. I realized that I would turn out exactly the same. If I continue living like this, that's what I'll become. So I started thinking about God, praying, doing exercise, running barefoot in the snow. I started a different life. I was only 12 years old. I began to pull myself out of that consciousness. I didn't want to live like that. I saw that many people around were living exactly the same way, and so were my friends, and everyone was withering. And I just rebelled. I didn't want to live like that. I just rebelled against it, and my whole life changed. My friends changed. Gradually. First, a person's mood changes. Everything else remains the same. Then knowledge changes. A person understands how to live correctly. First, a step to the side. I want to live differently. Then the mood changes, knowledge changes. You see, everyone is living wrong. Then further on, you start living correctly. Gradually, at first you find friends who live the same way, then everything at work changes. I am telling you the sequence of changing your destiny. And after work, your close ones begin to change, then your child. After, parents start to change, and then distant relatives. And so on. The expansion of this happiness goes on. Time comes, and only happiness surrounds you. There's no one around who lives incorrectly. In my life, it came to the point I don't even know how to explain it. I have a cousin with whom we didn't communicate. She knew I existed and I knew she was there, but we didn't know each other, you understand? She started listening to my lectures. Then she noticed I looked a bit like Grandpa. And she asked her dad, "Who's this guy?" He says, "That's your cousin." She immediately started calling me. Then I came to Israel to give lectures, specifically to meet her. And there, it turns out they were waiting for me too. It's amazing how things happen. Everything expands, life becomes happier and happier. Start breaking through this idea. My white city is a flower made of stone. As you leave this hall, you should repeat this prayer, walking through the city. My white city, you're a flower made of stone. This means I love you, my city. I love you, homeland. I love you, son, and the people around and everything else. Your life will completely change. Because it all depends on your mindset. Of course, the country faces many challenges now. Of course, people are affected by these challenges. They're not in the same spirits as before. All that exists. But that's just on the outside. On the inside, you need to rise against it. Focus only on the good and everything will be good. That's the mindset of someone who wants to overcome destiny. That's their state of mind. There are three types of belief and they affect the mindset. If one believes in spirits, in ignorance, in evil forces, in curses, they have a defeatist mindset. They're unhappy all the time. I'm water sprite. I'm water sprite. Nobody hangs out with me. And all my buddies are leeches and frogs. Ah, my tin can life. Throw it into the swamp, but I want to fly. If the belief's wrong, then life's wrong. What should belief be like? There's belief in evil forces, in curses, in the unlucky us show. That's belief in ignorance. Another belief is in success. It happens at the height of success. Nowadays, society promotes this belief in success, you understand. They show us movies with Schwarzenegger, these real tough guys. Everything goes their way and bullets never seem to touch them. No problems at all. Bullets whiz around, but they miss every time. He takes them all down. No one can touch him. In a word, a successful person. He can even lug around big logs. That's how successful they are. Everything in their life just seems to be as it should be. Why show this to people? Because people start to believe they need to be just as successful. All it takes is a snap of the fingers, they say. They tell them, believe you're a bubble and you'll become a bubble. Essentially, just have faith in yourself. They advise to believe in oneself. You gotta look really cool. Let's say I believe I'm a successful lecturer, successful and give lectures. I come in and say, hello, I'm thrilled to see all of you. You're already feeling queasy, I sense that. We've come to you for an hour. You're really very lucky. So, everyone, perk up your ears, and better yet, give a hearty applause. Disgusting. This attitude means belief in oneself or belief in success or belief in money. They're all the same thing. It's another type of faith. Got it? People get all high and mighty with this type of belief. They strut around all high and mighty. If you want to see some prime examples of this faith, next time you're on a plane, take a peek at business class. It's faith that shapes a person like that. They think they're living a super awesome life, but it's just an illusion to them. People in ignorance feel everything's bad, even when it's actually good. While those driven by passion constantly tell themselves everything's fine. Even when everything's falling apart for them, it's because pride destroys their lives. Belief driven by passion creates illusions. I told you yesterday that women with a belief in the mood of passion become very attractive externally and grab a lot of men's attention. But they can't bring happiness because it's all for show. These aren't genuine manifestations, it's all about posing. Men who are full of themselves also invoke feelings of burning and desire in women's hearts. Such a man often doesn't get married. Just showing off. Realness is always a bit further. Real purity, real love, real loyalty, they're all just a bit further. It's not obvious to the naked eye. It's all hidden from sight. Once, someone showed me and taught me how to identify gemstones. Let's say a yellow sapphire looks pale, very pale. It's not bright, you understand? But if a sapphire is bright yellow, it's not genuine, it's synthetic. Everything genuine has a soft, concealed nature. A genuine person is always understated at first glance. A real precious stone isn't as bright as a fake one. You understand? Everything genuine that brings luck and happiness in a person's life isn't as flashy or alluring as the fake. Real people who will bring you joy aren't like that. When the main manager and I were selective staff, we noticed when someone comes and says, I can do this and that, I can do everything. Here's my profile. We'd reply, great, we agree you should work, but not here. Another person comes in and we tell them, this is the job for you. Can you handle it? A person looks and says, I've got to try. It's a big responsibility. I'll do my best to meet your expectation. On the outside, they seem a bit off. But in reality, they sense the extent of the job. That's a genuine person. You understand? If someone doesn't grasp the scale of the work, once they start, they'll escape right away. But a true person feels it, so they ponder whether they are up for it. whether they will cope with it or not. We ask, what do you think? A person replies, I don't know if I can cope with it. I'll think about it. This is our kind of person, you understand? The faith is different. When a person believes in God, they are humble, hardworking. They have a different attitude towards people, towards life. Distinguish this. If the faith is ignorant, the person's all about show-off. Even the language of ignorant people is different. It's rowdy. Let's say a lecturer arrives and his language is hooligan. It means the faith is ignorant. There's academic language. That's faith in passion, faith in success. If the language is simple, profound, it means faith in God. Even the songs differ. Moral songs are pure and light. Such songs are imbued with God. There are songs about success. The bird of tomorrow's happiness has flown in, wringing its wings. Choose me. These songs are tied to success. There are songs related to God. I always play you those gracious songs. For those who believe in themselves and success, there are songs in passion. Later on, I'll tell you what to do with a family. There are ignorant songs of different content. There are various grades of ignorant songs. There is one option A. It's focusing on the lower psychic centers. Instrumental music playing. And the corresponding movements downwards, the justification flows. Another version of ignorant songs are those in which the language is ignorant. What is foul language? It's when everything boils down to one thing, to the lower psychic centers. All words go there. Any sentence is fixated on sex. Everything goes there. It's an ignorant life. Criminal songs, raspy voice, a bit of sorrow, and a white swan on the pond sheds a fallen star, on that pond to which I will take you. In passionate songs, there's excessive expressiveness. Virtuous songs are soulful, heartfelt, with wisdom. When there's no wisdom, a song has only a few words. In songs, just some 3 words are repeated over and over. Recognize it. Friendship with virtuous people brings success. With passionate people, it brings tension. Believing in ignorance leads to degradation. If you believe that everything in your city is bad, there's no happiness, so that's degradation, there will be degradation. Those who believe that everything in this city is good, everything will be good for them. Moreover, since there are few such people, they will be in high demand. There are jobs and everything in the city. And all those who are positive will be in great demand because everyone else is already negative. People out of competition. They will live excellently, feel good in this city where everyone else is like this. Everything will be great for those who believe with virtuous faith. Faith is the main thing. How do families live among virtuous people? They serve each other, they are happy, love each other. That's it, a happy family life. It's called a life of love. As a commercial break, my new book, Life in Love, I read it. It's about this. People in passion, listen carefully, this is the majority. What does in passion mean? People believe not in the necessity of giving a person love right now, directly in this very moment. That's living in the present. I come home and I need to tell my loved one right now, you are the dearest, my most beloved, because later, when they pass away, God forbid, you'll be in agony and say, why didn't I tell you earlier? Why did we get caught up, live so enclosed? Why didn't I give you my love? We worked too much and thought too little about each other. And that's regret in the heart. To avoid regret, think right now. What's stopping you? Set your mindset right. People in passion can't set their mindset right because their life is slipping into the future. Their sense of self-worth goes into the future. Look, once I finish school, I'll be happy. Once I get into college, I'll be happy. Everything's in the future. Once I get a good job, I'll be happy. Once I pay off my apartment, I'll be happy. Once I raise my grandchildren, I'll be happy. And then, boom, you've died. You lived your whole life in the future. How does this happen? It's a kind of mindset. Waiting for a tram at the stop. Waiting for it to arrive. Is this life? No, because we are waiting for the tram. The tram has arrived. We get on the tram. Next, we wait for the tram to start moving. Everything seems to be in place. It's time to live. No, we wait for the tram to get to the destination. When the tram has arrived, we wait to get home. Once at home, we wait for the wife to feed us. She's fed us. We wait to watch the next episode. The next episode is on. We wait for everyone to win. Everyone's one. We wait to go to sleep, go to bed, fall asleep. Wake up, need to go to work. Again, wait to get to work and so on. The entire life is in the future. And the person in ignorance doesn't wait for anything at all. They've already lost everything. There's no happiness in life. They've lost everything. It's a lost life. They are angry at everyone, hate everyone. In ignorance, the sense of self-worth goes back, which means disappointment. In ignorance, the sense of self-worth goes down. It's called humiliation. A humiliated person, disappointed, somewhat unattractive. In passion, the sense of self-worth goes forward. Restlessness, a fussy person, unattractive. In passion, the sense of self-worth goes up a pride. A proud person is unattractive. In kindness, a sense of self-worth takes a central position. Happiness. Happiness in Old Russian means existence. Existence right now. Not tomorrow, not the day after, not in the past, but right now. Fate affects us, my dears. It presses right here, directly onto the heart. Fate presses on the sense of self-worth, and it always dislodges the sense of self-worth somewhere. If it pressed hard and you defeated fate, then you immediately feel proud. I've won. If you lost, it's humiliation. If it crushed you, it's depression. If you are fighting it, it's moved forward. Whatever you do, you always step out of the state of happiness. What to do? You should not fight fate by yourself, but think about holiness, about purity, and simply turn your sense of self-worth in another direction. You think about God and just live joyfully. Accept your fate. Instead of resisting it, you embrace it. Once you've accepted it, that's it. You've entered the present time. Accepting fate means accepting everything around, everything that exists. You immediately start to fill up with life. First, you need to accept God. If you've accepted God, He's mended your heart. He's tuned your heart correctly. God tunes our hearts. We prayed, we ourselves do not know how it happens. I prayed, my heart tuned correctly, then I accepted my life. That's it, I'm happy. How does it happen? First comes the acceptance of everything, for example, nature, weather. Let's say it's raining. It was raining yesterday. Is the weather good? It all depends on your faith. If you believe in God, it's good. If you don't, then it's bad. It hits you in the heart. A person who believes in God accepts nature and is filled up with nature. Became strong, filled up with nature. What happens next? Started to accept their fate. You won't accept it without God. You say, what should I do? My wife left me, a friend abandoned me, everyone betrayed me. What to do? You have to accept all of this. I don't have the strength to accept. Think about holiness, about purity. Strength will appear and you will accept. Just like that, life became good. Accept. If you lack the strength to accept, do not run away from it, do not resist. I wish you all the worst. No. You need to accept, and that's it. That's the whole exam. Accept. Just need to accept. He's quite a remarkable man in general. He was building his own cottage community, and his friend betrayed him. As a result, he lost everything. Even his wife left him. Well, he lost absolutely everything. Nothing remained. He started listening to lectures, working on himself. He came to me to pray. We have prayer retreats. There we all together loudly chant in a prayer for 2 hours. We attune ourselves. I give the attunement first. And then, once it starts, we pray for 2 hours and it breaks through, just knocks out all the obstacles, everything. And so, he prayed with us. And afterwards, I asked everyone, including him, how do you feel? He says, I'm fine. I say, maybe there were some blockages, thorns in your heart. Let's review them. He responds, I've forgiven. Everything was fine with him. He accepted everything, didn't need money, all was great, but he couldn't forgive his friend. All was great. He accepted his fate. He didn't need neither land nor cottages, but he couldn't forgive his friend. He prayed for 2 hours with us, says, I've forgiven. He simply lacked the strength from God. He drew strength from him, and it became easy to forgive. That was all. A new life started right away. Forgive, and you are free. A new life, here you go. Live on, be happy. First, you have to accept your fate. To be happy, you need to accept your city. People ask me, Oleg Gennadievich, can I move to America? You can, but first accept your city. If you don't accept it here, you won't accept it there either. There's no difference. I have an acquaintance who moved to Germany. I go there to give lectures. I meet him. I say, well, isn't everything great as you're in Germany? He says, oh, there are problems here in Germany as well. And he started saying the same things he used to say in Russia, now about Germany. I tell him, you should have accepted everything back there first, and then you'd be free to go wherever you want. You didn't accept it there, you won't accept it here. It's the same everywhere, just different in appearance. People think, I'll move there. It's all chunga-changa, blue sky, summer all year round, eat coconuts, bananas, a permanent happiness. They think it will be like that. I have a friend who went straight to chunga-changa. He arrived. There was nothing to do. He had a lot of money. Even the interest was enough to live on. He got bored. Chunga-changa everywhere, but nothing to do. Boring. He was bored, but he decided to start some business with the locals. They were all relaxed there. He decided to get into construction. That's his specialty. But they are all lazy. They live in chunga-changa. They can't work there. So you need a special approach with them. You have to say, my dear, take a brick, carry it here. Here's another brick, well done. Oh, such a good job, go on. As soon as you turn away, they relax again. He says, I'm getting out of here. I ask, why? He says, I can't watch this chunga-changa anymore, that's it, I can't, it's driving me crazy. You see, there are challenges everywhere, just different ones in each place. You go to chunga-changa thinking everything's fine there, but there are challenges there too. As well as here, when you arrive to a new place, there's only one problem. You don't know what the challenges will be there. But once you start living there, you'll find out. Look, here's an example of a tricky situation in Germany. I know someone from Germany. She says, Oleg Gennadyevich, to visit my mom, I need to schedule an appointment and bring my own food with me. Really? That's the kind of tricky situation they have there? Well, they have their advantages too. Everywhere exists pros and cons, you understand? I have this acquaintance who came to Russia completely fed up with everything in America. She's longing for relationships, for genuine human connection. She gets to the customs, sees a Russian face in front of her, and the officer says to her dismissively, come on, give me your passport. Happily she responds, thank you, real people. That officer showed genuine emotions, and she loved it. They nearly told her off, and she was almost jumping for joy, because the person told her exactly what they were thinking. You just can't see that in America. It's a rare thing. But again, it has its advantages. What I'm trying to say is there's no need to run anywhere. It's all the same everywhere. There you might have more opportunities to earn, but less in terms of relationships, fewer chances to get married. Family values are crumbling in Europe. The further into Europe you go, the harder it is to get married. The further into Russia, the quicker you can get married, but the harder it is to keep a family. People quickly get to know each other and just as quickly start arguing the next day. In Europe, people meet and live together for a long time, but it's hard to make acquaintances. In America, on average, according to statistics, it takes 5 years of communication before marriage. On average, you need to communicate with someone for 5 years. We have like 5 minutes here, but in 5 minutes people break up just as easily. So there are difficulties everywhere. Don't think that it's better there or worse here. Of course, sometimes a person feels better living somewhere else. It's easier for them. First, you need to accept that, my good friends. To accept things, you need the energy of God. You need holiness, this energy, as well as the energy of nature. Some people think, Oleg Gennadyevich, I pray but still feel bad. I have no strength. You need the energy of nature. You need to run, you need to fast. What does running do? Running increases willpower. If you feel, I can't cope with life, I can't overcome obstacles, the situation at work is bad, obstacles everywhere, you need to go for a run. That is, you run and run and run, your willpower accumulates, all obstacles are overcome. For women in a feminine way, for men in a masculine way. How should a woman run? A woman should run like this, in a feminine way, gently, not straining herself, 1-2, writing with one foot, crossing out with the other. She runs like this. She runs joyfully. She is unmarried, running happily. And there are very few such women or girls who run and are also joyful. She might even meet a man while running. Someone might start running after her to get acquainted. I've even seen that happen. She starts running and already someone is chasing her, catching up to her. She runs like this and thinks, it's not clear who is catching up to whom. With joy in her heart, joy brings success right away. Success immediately comes into life. The energy of people gives a person social strength. When you accepted the people in this city, started to care, rejoice for everyone, what does it look like? Well, such a person is active and likes everyone. Such a person walks, smiles at everyone, is happy for all people. That is a completely different mood. And everyone also begins to rejoice. Some turn away. Well, okay, they have a watery mood, let them stay there in that swamp. The rest are all happy. Service at every step. Going by tram, serve people, wish everyone happiness in your heart. We conducted an experiment, me and my assistant Maxim. We were in the metro. I started telling him something joyfully, but in the Moscow metro, everyone is so gloomy. Well, there is simply not enough energy of love. And we just entered there so cheerfully, la la trulala. I looked, people all began to smile, began to think about something good, those who were standing nearby. They were willing to rejoice. Then gradually time passed. They also became more joyful, also began to talk positively, then went on to joke. It was like a wave. That's it. There is even such a video. Watch it. It is called Laughter Yoga. Search on the internet, watch the video. A guy enters a tram and starts laughing. Everyone sits so gloomy, then the whole tram laughs. He gets out of there and enters the next tram and there begins to laugh. Then again everyone laughs. He rides like this. He likes helping people in this way. Such a video. Cool, I really liked it. It was nice to see it. You will say, Oleg Gennadievich, let's talk directly about family life. I am telling you directly. The problem is not in your family life, but in the fact that you do not have the strength to live together. You live incorrectly, do not recharge yourself. You need to recharge. Recharge with the city. My white city, you are a flower made of stone. Recharge with nature, recharge with people. Look around at the people, smile at them, joke with them. They'll all melt and start bringing happiness to you. Go to the temple, enjoy the company of people there. You must overcome this feeling. The feeling arises. Everything is bad for us. But you must overcome all of it and you'll come home feeling better. And you'll see, your husband is not as sour as you thought, not that sour. That's the system. It's important how to properly love your close ones. It's very important. You see, the first and most important thing, that's why I keep talking about it. Fill yourself with strength from nature, from people, from God. When you fill up, then accept your fate. That's the next stage. What does it mean to accept your fate? You want to leave a close person. All right, no problem. First, accept them, then do as you wish. First, understand that it's your destiny because it is true. I know for sure. Because every time they tell me, Oleg Gennadievich, why? There is a reason. God never accidentally puts a person in your life. Oleg Gennadievich, we sort of met because we became intimate in bed. God brought you together. So realize that nothing in this world happens by chance. Everything is orderly. God gave you what you deserve. You did something in life and you are responsible for it. You'll say, but what if I run away? You will still be held responsible, you will be caught up, and you'll get an additional sentence for escaping. It will be even worse. If you make a move, it will be even worse. Accept your close one. Accept them, and immediately life will become easier, because when you accept them, two things happen. First, kindness starts flowing from your heart into theirs through your acceptance. Kindness means to accept a person. You've accepted them out. The person has already become kind. Anger means non-acceptance. When a person is accepted, they become kind. Through this kindness, knowledge begins to flow from you to them, because you are connected by an invisible thread. For the sake of profound love, you must remember that our loved ones are eternally connected to us by an invisible thread. What does it mean to be connected by an invisible thread? Once you accept them, knowledge begins to flow to their heart through this invisible thread. because you treat them kindly. Someone asks me, Oleg Gennadievich, how can I make my husband start changing, to stir something up in his brain? For that, you need to stop thinking of him in such a way. Accept him and pray, and then, oh, I've forgiven him. Here, accept your man as he is. This is your fate, just like that, if only my eyes hadn't seen him. This is your fate, and you need to accept it. No, I don't believe it, Oleg Gennadievich. But these are your problems. This is your fate, accept it. Once accepted, that's it. First thing that happens, knowledge enters him. He becomes better. You accepted him, and immediately he became better. What have you accepted him as? As he used to be, but from that moment on, he already became better. It's a blessing. And secondly, what happens? Once you accept him, you begin to see the best in him, not the worst. You see, if you see the worst in a person, it's a curse, meaning he will be bad. If you see the good, he will become good. Why is that? Because a woman is a blessing force. What a woman thinks about a man, that's what will happen. It works wonderfully. Scientific research has been conducted. It turns out, if a woman doesn't love her husband enough, all his colleagues at work don't love him enough either. She instills this power in him. He becomes a loser. If she believes in him, treats him well, everyone will believe in him, and luck will come into his life. Luck is of the feminine gender. Luck is a woman's attitude towards her husband. She instills luck in him and receives it back herself. Give your luck to your husband. Think well of him, even though it's hard to do. This is where the real austerity is. Try to think well, no, badly, not well. Think positively, then everything will be good. Bad, then everything will be bad. How should one treat their wife? Men, first and foremost, remember this. I am not joking, I am quite serious. How should one treat his wife? Very carefully, you understand? Do not get entangled.
She only seems a certain way at first glance. Audience, why are you telling them this?
Then why am I disclosing this? I feel sorry for the men. I want to save them. Do not get entangled, men. A woman gives life. A woman takes life away. When, roughly speaking, in a hall like this one, a woman was lying on the carpet, stretched out, and above her, doctors were massaging her chest and breathing air mouth to mouth. She was dying, and at that time, on a subtle level, up to the ceiling, stood a very beautiful woman in white clothes above her, called Death. And she is just like you, seemingly harmless, a good sort. But she does not show her eyes, because if she looks at you, you'll be there immediately, and it's not your time yet. Life is given by a woman, death is given by a woman. A woman gives everything in this world, also in the interval between life and death. She creates the atmosphere in the apartment. She curses you or blesses you. She creates happiness or suffering. She accepts you or abandons you. That is, she does everything in this world, but a man sincerely thinks that he is stronger than a woman. It seems that way, and she also thinks so, thinking, I am so weak. You see, it's an illusion, but it is better for a man to figure this out first. That is, how should one behave with a woman? Carefully. My dear, how are you feeling? God forbid your mood gets spoiled. Like that, constantly. Of course, I know that's right. I am also married. Carefully, carefully. And she will be so grateful. Gratitude will be next to her heart. As soon as you start behaving properly, she immediately blossoms and, of course, becomes a little cheeky. Then, the next time you come home from work, she will say, well, where is it, that thing? Come on, show it. And you're like, ah, well, okay. She will like it right away. She will remember it right away. The standards will never be lower in life anymore. Only this way now, no other way, that's all. Men, it always works this way. If you decided to give an expensive piece of jewelry once in a lifetime, that was the most expensive. It was a mistake. Why? Because she will not react to others anymore, never. This most expensive one, it's mine, the rest, yes, 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 well, as if that's all. So gauge your capabilities. You see, it is very important to treat a woman carefully. She will bless you. Everything in your life will start to develop. There will be luck in life, that's all. There will be such a feeling in her heart. She will bless you. You can't even imagine what colossal possibilities and abilities there are. I am just amazed. I tell my wife, something is wrong with my sleep. I am not sleeping well. She starts cooking. I ate and immediately slept through the whole night, falling asleep at once. I say, I slept so well. She says, I prayed for you to sleep well. Such power, just colossal. If you satisfy her heart, she'll pray, and everything at your work will go well. Because of such a powerful influence, now a woman thinks, all right, Oleg Gennadievich, so that's about us. But what about these guys? They too have a divine nature, you understand. Men also are of divine nature. And what's this divine nature about, and what to do with it? I'll explain. There are foolish women, and then there are wise ones. How to tell if a woman is foolish or wise? It's really hard to tell. A wise woman considers herself foolish and acts like a foolish one, while a foolish woman thinks she's wise and acts wise. That's it. It's quite simple to understand. Well, men, even if you've understood all of it, don't show it, or it'll be worse. So let's say a woman can become wise right now. She needs to behave with her husband as if she knows nothing, understands nothing, but has some inklings. Just like that, very humbly, always agreeing. If you ladies want to have your way in the family, you'll always get it. If a woman is afraid, thinking, if I keep agreeing, then nothing will be done my way, only his way. I'll explain why. Because for a man, the most important thing is to be obeyed to him. The rest doesn't matter much. For instance, he says, we need to save money. All right, you comply. Then go ahead and buy yourself a dress. No issues. Why? That's an exception. He simply gives it to you wholeheartedly because you're so good. A man is very generous by nature. Don't believe me, ladies. I'll prove it. Let's say there are two categories of money in a family. Just like talking about water these days, water with a plus and minus sign. Living water and dead water. Don't believe it. They're fooling you. Remember, you can only charge water using sunlight, moonlight, through cold and heat. You can purify it using silver and gold. That's it. You can purify it with natural stones, but they might then give a specific taste to the water that might not suit you. For example, if you place water under the moonlight, the moon will charge the water with tranquility. Drink it and you'll feel calmer. If you place it under the sun, the water gets charged with fiery power, helping you digest food better. If you freeze and then thaw the water, it gets purified. You may use silver. Place a silver spoon in the water. It will have cooling properties, reducing inflammation. If you use a gold spoon, it boosts immunity and aids digestion. That's it. All these methods using electricity, it's dirty energy. Dirtier than the sun and health, you understand? And electricity can't produce anything good for health. You simply can't use electric current to produce energy that will charge water. It's just not possible. Because this energy is crude compared to water. That's it. Prayer can charge water. Now, what? With silver, yes. Place an icon next to water, it gets charged. And these tangerines, what am I throwing them for? They've been charged with your love.
They're charged. Eat them and luck enters your life. Audience, what about Reiki? Yes, that's your belief.
You believe it. You think it's Reiki energy, but it's your energy. If you didn't believe, nothing would get charged. They simply passed on this belief to you. You were told Reiki charges. All right, let's call it that. You place your hands and the water gets charged because you believe. Your faith charges it. Faith means connection with God. Ultimately, God charges. So, my dear friends, let's leave the water topic and get back to life. It's vital to understand that there is female money and male money. Female money is marked with a minus, money that spoils life, and male money is marked with a plus, bringing happiness. Female money, a woman can spend it only on herself and her kids. Men, heaven forbid you take and spend a woman's money on yourself. She'll remember that for a lifetime. You'd be turning in your grave. Didn't I speak the truth? Male money. When a man earns a take it, enjoy, do as you please. He'll forget, he'll forgive. How much did you spend? He might get upset today, but he'll forgive tomorrow. Male money brings joy to everyone. Women like male money, they like female money too, of course, but that's mine, whereas male money is for everyone.
It's better if he didn't earn it all. Men, you get it, right? Audience, what if we work together, have a joint business, lecturer? That's a different topic for seminars. You need to differentiate business relationships from family ones.
When you get home, forget about the business. Or set aside specific time for business in the family and time for love, for relationship. And you need to entirely change those relationships. A wife is a wife, a colleague is a colleague. These are different relationships. If a man thinks his wife's money belongs to him, he's ruining the family. The money belongs to the wife, but strict rules should be set on how to use it, and one must adhere to these rules. But if you don't give money to your wife, she'll grind you down. I mean, if you keep the money and only give her a little at a time, she'll simply grind you down. Why? Because money is of feminine energy. I don't want to interfere in your financial matters, just saying, whatever you have, but be mindful of this. If a woman's desires are infringed, she becomes like a snake that accumulates venom. I'll tell you again, men can forget everything, but women don't forget a thing. She keeps accumulating, then she just lets it all out. It's really crucial to understand. It's dangerous. So it's vital for a woman to be aware of her strengths when she's aligning herself with a man. Why does she need it? If she behaves humbly, obediently, treats him with care, inspires him, believes in him, then he, first off, begins to evolve into such a person. He becomes noble, and secondly, he experiences love, and his quality of life improves. He doesn't need to smoke, drink, bad habits disappear. Life becomes easier for him because he receives quality energy. So, when a woman has faith in her man, the quality energy comes out from her heart and soothes him. Men are always tense. They need relaxation. If a woman behaves like this, she is very neat and has faith. Then he relaxes. But why don't women behave like this? Why do they always argue and fight with their husbands? They're afraid that their rights will be infringed. And because they fear it, that's precisely what they get. Because when she starts arguing with a man, his rationality fades, and he becomes like a rooster. He begins to battle, trying to dominate the woman, because he feels he's losing control. What should you do? You should agree with the man, always. And then, once he's relaxed, approach things gently, subtly, and indirectly. You know, some say kids need tights. If they walk around without it, they might catch a cold and then wet themselves, just like ours do all the time. If you put it that way, subtly, he might say, "All right, buy the tights. What's the issue?" The key here is to get approval, ladies. Don't act on your own. The money's yours, but don't spend it yourself. You need his blessing. Decided to attend a lecture. Get his blessing. Once you have your husband's blessing to attend a lecture, the lecture will start changing him. You come back after the lecture. Since he blessed you, it automatically means everything there was right. It means he will start living the same way. If you don't get the blessing, on the contrary, hostility will arise. Oleg Gennadyevich will become a rival. He's taking my wife away from me. A feud begins. The husband feuds with the lecturer. Did you get the blessing? You say he does not give the blessing. You have to agree not to attend the lecture. You need to make arrangements a week in advance. You asked a week in advance, but he refused. You cried for a week, then he allowed it. But one must cry humbly. It's very simple. He allowed it, off you go. That's it, the blessing is received. He reacts to it. You simply do not know about it. A man is very reticent. You tell him something, it seems like he's dull, understands nothing. Keep telling. He has his inner process going on. You tell him, "Turn off the light, my dear." My wife tells me that I had internal processes going on, but I kept the lights on. After a while, I noticed that I didn't turn off the light. I was on my way out, I noticed I hadn't turned it off. I would return to turn it off, And then I noticed I didn't turn off the light. I went back, but it was off. I asked my wife, "Did you turn it off?" She said no. From that moment, I would always turn off the light, but I didn't notice it anyway. I hadn't noticed before. Didn't notice it after that either, but would turn it off then. She input in my consciousness a conditioned reflex. Now, wherever I go, I turn off the lights everywhere, saving electricity, unlike my assistant Maxim, because his wife didn't input this into his processor. Ladies, have you understood the system? You need to input information into the processors carefully, kindly, then his system will start working. Quantity goes to quality, remember that. Ladies, remember one thing. It's all in your hands in the family. You can accomplish everything quietly, without war. The Vedas say, a woman is the one who wins without war. And if she tries to win by means of war, she always loses. A woman is the one who conquers without war, because her strength is in love. She should solve everything gently and kindly. If that doesn't help, she should distance herself and cry. And that's all. There's absolutely no need to stress or strain. Even if a woman is a factory director, she should appoint men as her subordinates and assistants. And if someone does something wrong, she should say, "Vasily Petrovich, punish them." He goes and punishes. The employee comes being already punished. He says, "Up, he punished me." She says, "My dear, I understand everything. You're my darling. Come sit next to me for a while. I've missed you. Were you fired?" Well, these are the rules here, you know. I wonder about that myself. You got fired because you've been drinking. You were warned 3 times. You should have been warned 4. But there's nothing I can do to change that. He says, "I want to work for you." She says, "Well, good, quit drinking, then come back, we'll talk." Acknowledgement for a woman is not a problem at all. There's only one rule, even punish with love. If a woman follows it, everything at work will run smoothly for her, because she can do anything she likes with love. He will be joyful even when his head is being chopped off. He will be cheerful, because she has filled him with love. There are such mystical powers, only women can wield them. And these mystical powers are described in the fairy tale of the Shamakan Queen. What kind of mystical power is this? A woman can make a man perish, just kill himself for her. He would do it without even thinking twice. She just looks at him with her feminine charm, and he can wipe out an entire enemy army. It's a tremendous power, you understand? People just start losing their minds over it. There is such power, mystical feminine perfection. Only women can have it. Men just can't possess this power. Ladies, you have these powers. This force is embedded within you. The only condition, don't fight with a man. As soon as you start battling with him, he gets all puffed up and he can't think straight. If you want to get something done by him, always approach softly, gently, and explain things to him. If he doesn't get it at all, just don't talk to him. Stop talking to him. He'll try to get closer to you. Why? Because he can't live without love. You've turned off the tap of love. Living without love is impossible. He will keep following you. Now you might say, I've distanced myself. And he, on the contrary, tells me to stay away longer. I'm taking a break from you. That means your behavior wasn't right. You've behaved incorrectly with him. First, nourish him with love and then start educating him. You might say, I have no love for him, no love at all. That's right. God is missing in your life. You need to pray. If you pray, love will appear. If you pray and say, I've already got good feelings towards him, but I just don't have the energy to cook. Well, so there's a lack of nature. Go for a run. Energy will come and you'll start cooking. You'll say, I have the strength to cook. I have a good attitude towards him, but I'm not doing well at work. If things aren't going well at work, that means you lack love for people. Invite friends over. Feed the poor. Start serving the society. Start serving the community. Money will come in. I'm telling you this from my own life experience. Once I started living for others, my financial troubles just disappeared. The more a person is focused on themselves, thinking they need money, the less money they have. The more one lives for others, serving others, the more money they have. I had a relative who made furniture. day was just on fire with the spirit of service. Indeed, he was swamped with clients. He had orders booked for a month in advance. His problem was how to fulfill everyone's orders, not where to find them. Because his heart was in it, it truly burned for his work. A lady I know invented a delicious vegetarian cake. It was in Perm. Such an enthusiast she is. You know, her eyes sparkle. She is absolutely happy, full of life. She started giving out these cakes to the management. She'd say, "You have no idea how tasty cakes can be." And she'd give them a cake. They'd joke saying, yeah, I don't know. They cut off a piece, taste it, and their eyes go wide open. She cooked with prayers, and it was indeed a very delicious recipe. And she fed all the authorities with her cakes. Everyone knew about these cakes. She opened a cake shop, and the cakes just flew off the shelves. Such a success it was. People queued up for her cakes. Everyone bought this cake, and no one bought any other. This really happened. You see, she just nobled them with her love. She's such an extraordinary person. She started organizing my lectures in Perm. After a flight, I always go to the sauna. You know, it's like in the movie, only there they go from the sauna to the airplane. I do vice versa. After the airplane, I go to the sauna. And she organized the sauna for me. It was just some kind of sports complex. I had to walk around for a long time to get to the baths. She decided to check if everything was ready or not. And when we went there, I noticed she was missing. Where did she go? And there was a fence. She was 75 years old. The fence was high. I peeked over the fence and she said, "Oleg Gennadievich, where are you climbing?" She climbed over the fence to check if everything was ready, and she was 75. I was shocked. I had never seen women of that age climb fences. Such a person. You see, she's an extraordinary woman. There are absolutely no obstacles in life for her. She started organizing lectures and the hall was completely full. I asked, "Where are all these people from?" She says, "People from the street." I say, "How's that?" She says, "I stand at a bus stop, approach everyone and ask, 'Do you know Torsunov?' They say no. I say, 'What?'" She loves people so much. She interacts with everyone in such a kind manner. From each stop, about 10 people. She goes into a store, another 5 people. And that's how she gathered people, without any advertising at all. She just gathered people just like that on the streets. At 75 years old, she organized lectures, and she still does it. The hall is always full because she tells everyone, "Ah, you came." She remembers everyone. "I told you." And then after the lectures, she approaches people. "I told you, did you like it? I told you. Bring your wife next time." Can you imagine? That's how one should live. She doesn't have problems with anything at all. Not with money, not with relationships, not with authorities. She can walk into any boss's office, just kick the door open, and she'll be welcomed everywhere, because she's that kind of a person. There are no obstacles. She loves people, believes in people. You understand? Such an extraordinary person. I'm just telling you about what hinders our life. Our internal problems hinder our life. Everything's fine externally. This world is correctly arranged, but here inside, everything's not right. Start with all of this. How to properly love your close ones. First, you need to understand 2 things. First, there's no strength to love. You won't be able to love them. Energize yourself. Go running, do exercises, fitness, swimming. Let's say it's uncomfortable for girls to run on the street. Dogs are bothering or something else. All right, run in the gym. Then go outside, breathe the fresh air after the run. If, let's say, your body is rather clumsy, like my mom's who's quite old, I say, "You should run." She responds, "Honey, I might fall." So I bought her a treadmill for home. She walks on that treadmill. That's it. Convenient. No problems. Either way, you understand, one way or another. I know someone who's disabled. She can't walk at all. They got her this device. She runs on it. I mean, she rotates something there and that's it. Nowadays, everything's possible, you understand. Anything's achievable. All it takes is willpower. Even if you can't run, move your arms. She started to recover immediately. An incurable disease paralyzed her. She started moving. Everything began to heal. She waited for years to see the results. Once she started moving, the effects became visible. That's it.
Audience, can cycling have an effect? Like, I can't run.
Consider, let's say, those plastic men. What are they made of nowadays? Plastic, rubber, something artificial. He's handsome, funny, but not real. Would you take one? No. That's what cycling is like. You pedal once, then wait for it to stop. Pedal again. Is that movement? No. And you're bent over, sitting without moving. Only your legs move a little, that's all. Pedal once or twice, then again. You should walk. Can't run? Walk, I've told you. Can't walk, crawl. Can't crawl. Move your legs lying in bed. I'm serious about this. I couldn't run either. I pushed myself. I know. Take my uncle, for example, a close relative. Here's a concrete example. He couldn't run, his knees hurt and his blood pressure rose. He says, if I start running, my knees will hurt. I say, that's right. He asks, what should I do? Keep running. He says, I can't run or it hurts immediately. Then walk. He started walking. When he'd come home, his knees would ache. Every day. A few months later, his knees healed. No more pain. He started to run. Well, walk faster. Almost running now. His blood pressure began to improve. Now his blood pressure will get better. You understand? He didn't believe it. I said, give it a try. He says, what if my knees get worse? I tell him, it won't get worse. It'll only get better. Try. And he overcame that barrier, the fear of movement, thinking it'll get worse for me. Overcame the fear, and everything started healing. He's not a young guy. He's 10 years older than me. If you want to live, live. If you want to die, die. It's all up to you. First, you need strength. You understand? Want to build relationships and gather strength. You don't have the strength to build a relationship. Gather the strength. Here's the next rule. Find out what a loved one needs. Understand what they need might be inconvenient for you. For you, it's, well, inconvenient. You understand? It's inconvenient to constantly say to a man, yes, my dear. It's not convenient for a girl. She wants to, on the contrary, tell him the whole truth. That's what she feels like. That's comfortable, but saying, yes, my dear, that's inconvenient. But that's precisely what brings victory. It's also inconvenient for a man to court. He thinks he's so tough, and he's supposed to go in front of a woman like la la la. But he should, otherwise there's no happiness. And you gotta do it not just like la la la, but with a sense of self-worth, you understand? Not in a demeaned way. She glances at you, and you're immediately scared. No, not like that. With dignity, and the woman too with dignity. Not that when he looks she gets scared. No, she's full of life, cheerful. He asks her, will you feed me today? She looks at him, implying, you see what I'm made of. And with that confident look, she smiles at him and says, of course I will. He finds that very attractive. You understand? She's independent of him, but still cooks for him. He's like, will you feed me today? She doesn't even bat an eye and says, of course, and goes to cook. Such a woman is very attractive if she says, of course I'll feed you. If, with another intonation, then it's unappealing. It feels like her self-worth is lowered, no love there. She should be like a princess. A princess means she's rich. There's a lot of God in her. She feels her self-worth. It's not pride, but inner strength. You understand? When someone connects with God, they become very strong inside. Be it a woman or man, a strong one is a beautiful person. A woman becomes beautiful, a man becomes handsome. So, first rule, draw strength from nature. Second rule, know in detail what needs to be done. Understand how to behave with a loved one. Third rule, when you start behaving properly with them, there will immediately be one massive problem. They might start taking advantage. It's a reality. Really, people can't control themselves in love. They start exploiting it immediately. So you've got to learn to keep some distance. No one forces you to suffer in relationships. No one does. Learn to keep a distance. If you see someone's getting cheeky, step back a bit from them. What does that mean, to step back? There are different levels to it. Most importantly, don't get mad at them. Distance doesn't mean animosity. Be kind, wish them happiness, withdraw with kindness, do it gently. Not with anger like, I'm stepping back, get lost. You understand? Do it kindly. So what does it mean to distance yourself? Let's say you're in a close relationship, My dear, my love, la-di-da. If there's a bit more distance, it's all prepared. Step back, smile, wish them well, but don't communicate. Why aren't you talking to me? Just been busy. And move on. Don't even hint that you're distancing yourself. And he's like, no, there's something I can't figure it out. You're not talking for some reason. He knows the reason. A cat knows whose bacon it's stolen, and she says, I have no reason. Everything's good. There's no issue. And he goes, maybe I didn't behave right yesterday? She says, maybe. And she maintains that distance. You understand? Non-intrusive distancing means love. Makes everything clear. Let's say the kitchen's a mess and it's starting to smell there. The husband comes in and says, my sunshine, you know what? I found out today that if we don't clean up before sleep, evil spirits attack. How did you sleep today? Not so well, she says. That's the evil spirits, but our place is clean, everything's fine, though everything's in chaos. Our place is clean, well, mostly clean. I doubt we'd have any problems. She immediately went to clean. I'm telling you my story. And that's it. Goodbye to the dirt, because evil spirits attack when it's dirty. Now, she will never allow the apartment to be dirty before bedtime. It can be dirty all day, but before bedtime, definitely everything will be clean. The educational process is very kind, unobtrusive at home, in the husband-wife relationship. A wife must be educated very carefully, and a husband as well. It seems that it won't work, but on the contrary, it works much deeper. He will have to choose. Respect yourself. If a close person, let's say, starts drinking, cheating, there must be a large, immediate distance. Why? Because they betrayed you. If a close person starts drinking, cheating, it's a betrayal. Then a large distance is needed. They need to understand that they are betraying. They need to repent sufficiently. Once their heart has felt it, you can get closer, set conditions for living together. What does a large distance mean? She gives him interesting sex, and that's it. She doesn't want to give anything else, because if you have bread, don't look for cake. But do not abandon the person. Do not tell them, I am leaving you. Tell them, I love you, you are good, but I can't live with you, because I can't live with a person who betrays me. And that's understandable. The sense of self-worth is preserved. Now listen further. If a person started to cheat, you know it, and they know that you know, and you live next to them, that's it. Your sense of self-worth will go down, and theirs will go up. You are losing yourself in this relationship. You can't allow that under any circumstances. Found out they cheated, then live separately, but do not abandon them. Repent, do what's needed. We will live together. Before it's too late, because when this is just starting to happen, he still values you. Before it's too late, distance yourself, so he feels that he is losing something. When you've turned into a rag, being around him, demeaned yourself outrageously, such a wife is no longer needed for him, and he will easily leave you without any problems. Why? Because you've demeaned yourself. Don't think that if you distance yourself, it means you are losing the person. This is wrong thinking. If you have bread, don't look for cake. If you served, cared, forgave, and bad fate struck, your husband found someone else. Some say, that's it, time to look for a new one. This is wrong thinking. He met someone, it means you are working out karma. You need distance and to forgive the person, but never demean yourself. If he continues to cheat, don't live with him. You'll simply destroy yourself as a person. You served, you cared. A person will always have a test in life between real love, service, this is real love, and love, craving. He will have to choose. Love, craving wins at first only in the initial stages, remember this. If you truly served your loved one, cared for him, know that love, craving will still win at first because it blinds the person. But love, craving cannot last long. When sobriety comes, the person realizes who is better. He had a good wife, she cared for him, loved him, and now the new wife doesn't care about him at all. She gives him interesting sex, and that's it. She doesn't want to give anything else because if you have bread, don't look for cake. If you gave love, service, if you cared, and he left for another person, there won't be any more love, service there, because the Lord will not give the same to someone who betrays. Why would he? He will gift you another kind of passion. She won't offer you true, genuine love. Sooner or later, you'll realize it's fake and you'll want to go back. But what kind of woman will a man not return to? I say, it's all fine. Everything is going according to plan. She asks, what plan? I say, do nothing. You believe in a person, not in God. And that's the result you get. So first, gather your strength. There will be no relationship. Second, learn to understand what's right. Third, punishment is needed. To be happy, you need punishment. Without punishment, there is no love. First comes love, the right kind of service, and then punishment. What kind of punishment? The right kind of distance and speaking the truth kindly, just as it is. Kindly, but very carefully, not bending the harsh truth. Love is above truth. Speak very carefully. You see, my dear, I'm going to live a little bit apart from you because you've been unfaithful to me just a little bit. It sounds like a joke, but it hits hard because she said it with love and lives separately. And he thinks that when someone says, go to hell, you beast, he thinks, you go to hell yourself, and out of a sense of duty starts trying to run away from her. But this is a completely different scenario. You understand? She told him, you've been unfaithful to me just a little bit, so I'm going to live a little bit apart from you. He asks, what do you mean, just a little bit? It means she's going to her mom's, and she went to her mom's. He calls and she always answers kindly, yes, my dear. Come on, come back. What are you doing? No, my dear, you need to repent and leave that woman of loose morals. Kindly, very tenderly, he will say, I've already left her. I've already repented. I don't see it. Let me give you an example. I have a relative who lives in another country. There, she's not as protected as we are in Russia. She has friends, everything is fine, but it's a different country. Her husband tells her, get out of the house. She made a remark to him that he was indeed acting wrongly. He says, if you don't like it, leave. She took her things and left for a friend's place. She writes to me, what should I do? I was kicked out of the house. I say, it's all fine, everything is going according to plan. She asks, what plan? God's plan. What should I do? I say, do nothing. Pray, accept your fate, calm down and enjoy life. But the family is falling apart. I say, nothing is falling apart. When a person flips out and kicks you out, the family can't fall apart from that. Serious grounds are needed. You're not doing anything bad to be kicked out, are you? She says, yes. So he can't really kick you out. She asks, can the family fall apart? I say, it can. In what case? If you get angry, seek revenge, throw tantrums, do stupid things, then it can. She asks, what should I do? I say, pray to God to find peace. She started praying and she calmed down. And now what? I say, wait, he will start writing to you now. What will he write? I say, he will blame you for everything. What should I do? Don't do anything. He wrote, you are to blame for everything. That's why our relationship fell apart. What should I reply? Write back. Thank you for not forgetting about me and for taking the time to write. She wrote that. He continues, why did you run away to your friend's place? Aren't you married? Don't you have your own home? What should I answer? He was the one who kicked me out. It's not fair. Should I tell him that, yes? No. So what should I write? Write back. I ran away to my friend's place because there was nowhere else to go. As for not being married, I am married. And if my husband sends me to a friend's place, I go to a friend's place. I do what my husband tells me. She wrote that to him. He writes, all right, come back home. What should I respond? Respond with, I can't come back because, if I was sent away, I need to be brought back home. He says, all right, I'll come pick you up. So she arrives and so on. Word for word, I explained to her how to behave kindly, with a sense of self-worth without accusing anyone, just as if nothing had happened at all. I explained to her, why did he kick her out? I explained that he's very tired from work. He's mentally on edge and he'll have these outbursts periodically. He doesn't know how to rest, that is, he doesn't recharge with energy, so he's simply at his limit. You made a remark to him at that time, he got angry, and it just escalated. And it turns out the reason for his irritation was the destruction of his seed. These outbursts of his, these mental states. So, they're driving home, she's behaving kindly towards him, and he stops the car, looks at her and says, "You're the best out of everyone I've seen." And he started treating her very kindly and very well after that incident. He believed in this person. You understand? Just the right behavior can have a tremendous impact. And the realization that the person in front of you isn't an enemy. They're your close relationship, and their behavior has a deep-seated reason. Even if he cheats, there's a reason. Look within yourself. If you couldn't find someone better for yourself, you don't give him love, don't accept him in your life. That means he's depleted, and you say, "But Oleg Gennadyevich, he left me." Things aren't always like that. A man first loses energy. He can't live without the energy of love. He has less and less of that energy. And unmarried girls start to react to him. They notice men like him, men who lack love. How do they sense it? Such men, they really react strongly to them. And if someone reacts to a woman and she's not married, she deeply understands the importance of this process. Oh, a good person reacts. And she starts getting attached to this person immediately. And then it's hard for her to let it go. That's the situation. And that's how it all happens. Nobody's to blame. It just happened. You understand? That's how things really happen. It's your fault for not providing enough love. And you didn't provide it because you didn't pray, didn't run, didn't love people, didn't give gifts, didn't feed the birds, just lived like everyone else, became depleted, started getting angry at your husband, lost faith in him, and as a result, he lacked strength and he found someone else. That's the system. It's the same old story for everyone. So, the diagnosis is this. If your man left you, it's not because he's a bad person, or you met the wrong one, or that you are bad. As he said, he met the wrong one. The reason is that there was neither altar nor prayer in your home. That's the reason, and it's the main reason. No conscience, no life. I recently saw this video online, can you imagine? There's a book, just a primer. A person takes some food, a cat comes over, and well, cats always follow food. So he moves the food around, and the cat follows. And over the primer, it goes for the food, then the other way, back over the primer for the food. He places down the Quran, the Holy Scripture, and opens it just like the primer. So, as the cat approaches the Quran, it goes around the Holy Scriptures, meaning it doesn't step on the book. It sidesteps right around it. There's such a video on the internet. Has anyone seen it? Raise your hand. So you agree with me, it didn't step on it even once. It walks right past the Holy Scriptures without stepping on it. Such power comes from the Holy Scriptures that even animals, you see, they get it. Not to mention your man. What do you think? Is he worse than a cat or something? 100% he has enough brains to understand what an altar is. He won't be walking around the house without pants in front of the altar. God's watching after all. You understand? A person's conscience awakens. And that means he won't just be able to leave, you understand? So why do people have church weddings and go to church? To let God into their relationship, so it's not just easy to leave someone, because the conscience steps in, but that might not be enough. Because people think if they have a church wedding, everything will be awesome. It won't be all awesome. There needs to be a constant reminder coming from the altar all the time. Look, God's here, God's here, God's here, so that a person feels God's presence in their life and turns to Him when times get tough, not to the neighbor. It's also super important to know how time operates. You need to adjust your daily schedule. Morning is for prayer. Prayer works best in the early morning hours. Then, from like 8-9 a.m. to 12 p.m., it's the best time to tackle complex issues related to your activities, as intuition works really strongly during this period. From 12 Singmars to 18 Zars, it's best to do something physical. just the routine tasks you have. And in the evening, it's time for love, for family. As the moon begins to rise and the sun sets, it's family time. Dedicate this time to your wife and children, not the TV. Otherwise, you'll be left with the TV and your wife will leave. Lyrics. The day passed by, unnoticed, drained to the last drop. The day flew by, until dawn, the moon's in the sky. In the moonlight, colors appear clearer. What seemed simple becomes softer and more beautiful. The flowers. A magical world full of mystery, the moon shines. The hour for the lovers, a rendezvous, him and her. Lovers' hour. Forever their shared fate. Beside them are flowers, and of course, the moon. That's why we hold lectures in the evening. Flowers and the moon. Knowledge doesn't come without love. If it does, why do you ask, why, Oleg Gennadievich, do you distribute flowers? Why lectures in the evening? We often lack friends and kindness in life. Moon, moon, flowers, flowers. Everyone who's in love trusts them with their hopes and dreams and dreams. They used to write such great songs. Guess I'm getting old. They rarely make them like that now. You see, there are good ones today as well. I even have a few modern songs. Here's one of them. They still write good ones now. Sunday, Saturday, friendship. It's not work. Friendship isn't work. There are friends, and for them, friends don't have weekends off. That's how you should approach work. If you don't have work, then it's time for friends. Start loving your friends, interact with them, and a job will come your way. You see, if there's no work, it means you lack social strength. You don't have enough energy to work. No family. It is also time for friends. Start loving everyone around. A family will appear. That is, you need the energy of people, love for people, for you to have social strength. I, for example, ask, I love people very much. If I don't have a job, who will help me settle down here in this city? Immediately, a forest of hands. I won't be left without work. Here's the point. Kind people can help with everything. If a person loves people, they won't have problems with work. But you have to strive for this. You need to learn to love people. Learn it. Put in effort. What questions do you have for me about today's topic? We talked with you about relationships, about types of love, about how to establish relationships in the family. What steps to make? First step, health nature. Second step, understanding. Third step, upbringing.
Lecturer, your question. Audience, if the husband's mistress has given birth to a child, what to do? Lecturer, do you mean what kind of poison or what? The husband's mistress has given birth to a child, right? Audience, yes, she gave birth to a child. Lecturer, yes, do they live together? Audience, preserve the family or not? Lecturer, and do they live together or does he live with you? Audience, the husband lives with both the mistress and the wife in different houses.
Well, you see what a productive man he is. Are you talking about yourself or about someone in general? I need to understand whom we are talking about.
Audience, no, not about myself. Lecturer, not about yourself, so your daughter. Audience, a friend. Lecturer, a friend. Audience, yes.
You see, I need to see the person clearly. I always handle everything on a personal basis. I need to see the person. I can't see the person. I don't know. That is, if he lives with her, with the friend, then she has lost herself. If she has allowed him to live with her and to cheat simultaneously, this means he has no conscience. And she has no sense of self-worth. She needs to pray and distance herself from him a bit in order to come to her senses. And then she needs to forgive him for fathering a child out of wedlock. She should treat the child well, deal with this woman and set conditions for him. She needs to make it so that he is drawn to her. That's the most important thing. When he is drawn to her, that's when education starts. When the education begins, he will repent, and then she should pull him in even more.
Audience, but the child is small, he should see his father, right? Speaker, well, let him have a father. What can you do? Audience, so they should let each other go?
Well, there are no other options. What to do? Kick him out. But God will punish you for that. What options do you have? You see, this is already the final stage of indulgence. That is, you lived with a conscienceless man. That's your problem. You should have distanced yourself, educated him. You've led yourself to all of this. Yeah, if someone strikes you on one cheek and you turn the other, you'll get hit again and then you'll have bruises. What do you do with the bruises? Don't turn your cheeks. You understand? That is the situation. There was improper behavior. That is, you need to serve the person. If there is service, distance yourself when he behaves improperly. Excite his conscience. Without an altar, there is no conscience. Without service, without prayer, a person becomes impudent. She got pregnant by him, gave birth, and he became so brazen. What can you do? Nothing. Accept your fate. You've brought all of this upon yourself already. Kick him out and you'll be worse off. If you kick him out, you'll answer for it. What to do? Serve your husband, forgive your husband, distance yourself. When it gets through to him, educate him. Forgive the other woman. She comes to visit with the child. Scratch her face with love. Your question. The lady, yes, you, yes, no, not you, but the one behind you, no, you.
Audience, what if the husband does not take responsibility? I distanced myself 2 years ago. He is at a distance, but still wants to command, to control. Lecturer. Of course he is a man, not a woman, right? Of course he wants to control, to command. Let him command. Audience, but he doesn't help financially, doesn't contribute to supporting the family, the children. Lecturer. He doesn't help. Audience. Number. Lecturer. And does he work? Audience. Yes, he works. Lecturer. So he has no conscience, in other words. Audience. Yes, lecturer. It means you don't have God. Audience. Yes, lecturer. Sit down, my dear. I will explain everything now. You are a woman. God is not a fool, you see, he knows what you need in life.
A woman needs a responsible man. It is a part of her life. Here is a woman. So there must be a responsible man if she, this woman, lives right. Those are the laws. In your life, God is missing. So he lacks conscience. I'll give you an example. People generally did not live together. A woman in Almaty approaches me and says, Oleg Gennadyevich, I have such a situation. My wealthy husband left us with a child. The child needs to be educated. There is no money for education, but he is a talented person. He needs to study in a special school. What to do? The husband said, I won't give you money for tuition. What to do? I say, you need to pray to God. Forgive your husband. She started praying and said, what are the stages? Tell me, how? I told her, first stage, peace in the heart, everything will be okay. Second stage, influence, means contact will be established with the husband. Third stage, conscience wakes up. That's it. So, she started praying. She achieved peace in her heart. Next, he started sending messages. How are you? She responds, all is well, thank you, glad to hear from you, and so on. Next, what happened? He said, I will pay for the child. And he started to pay for his education. All done. Why? His conscience kicked in. Why? Because she started living right. There's just one problem. You don't have enough God in your life, and God is giving you hints. If you go down the wrong path in life, you will suffer. You paid the price. Suffering is over. You are connected to him by an invisible thread. You represent his conscience. Through you, this force must come. You start praying, his conscience kicks in. You become his conscience. You know how he should behave correctly. Every woman is the conscience of her husband. Every woman. You have the power to turn it on if you are filled with God. He will start helping you. And not just helping, but also the family will come back together. It fell apart because you got tired of each other. You lived wrongly, got fed up with each other, did not serve, wasted yourselves, salary, work, home, work. You drained yourselves and drifted apart. Fill yourself up from nature, fill yourself up from God. Start filling him up with your prayers. Reconnect. Nothing has destroyed you. You are honest people. You are well and correctly tuned. Start living right. A family will be created. In 8 months, you will already be back with your husband. I think even before my next visit to Chisinau.
Audience, thank you so much, lecturer. Come to the next lecture and say, everything worked out, Oleg Gennadyevich, we are together now.
Raise your hand if this happened to you. Who got back together before my visit? You were apart, but you got back together before my visit. Nobody? Has really no one managed to restore their family in a year? In a year? All right.
You have to fight for your life. Everything in your life should be good. You have every opportunity to make things right again. Do everything right, become strong, become self-sufficient. Everything will be restored. Audience, all right, thank you.
Well, there you go, ma'am. First, just calm down. Get out of despair. Yes, you. Please, have a seat.
Audience, thank you, Oleg Genadievich. I would like to ask a question regarding the fate of my daughter. They were married for 13 years, dated for 4 years, have 2 children, and were building their relationship over 17 years.
A woman of easy virtue, who earns her living this way, crossed paths with my son-in-law. She's interested in nothing but money.
Audience, well, she made him fall for her. He's torn between his wife and that woman, yet he genuinely loves his family, loves his kids. I see it sincerely.
Same thing I told you. There's no God in the family. There's no conscience.
Audience, but my daughter can't accept, can't forgive. Lecturer, there's a lack of God, a lack of strength. Audience, she prays, goes to the temple, tries to find strength within herself. Lecturer, but it's not enough. Audience, she strives for it. Audience, her question. I'm here at her request, but he still continues the relationship with that woman. It's been going on for a year. She asked him, I don't know how lovingly, to live apart for a while. Audience, so her question is, to take him back, he asks to return to the family, or should they break up?
Accept him with a condition. Let her say, I want to take you back. Leave that woman. I can't accept you with her.
Audience, to which he replies that it will continue for a long time. He can't end it quickly.
Well, then they live separately for now. Pray. The problem isn't what to do. Try to understand the model. Your daughter is happy, self-sufficient, and she says to him, hey, all sorts of guys are looking at me. What should I do? She's beautiful, full of life. He says, do nothing. I am your husband. She, all right, I'll think about it. That's it. The problem is only that she lacks strength. Strength comes from nature, from God, from good people. She lacks strength, and he sees it. That's why he's getting insolent. Try to act insolently around a strong person. Imagine, men, think, a girl, very beautiful, attractive, joyful, and you decided to cheat on her. Have you lost your mind? She'll say, really? Good for you. Well, I'm off. And he immediately says, what? Where are you going? She, the same place you went. And she smiles, happy. You think no one will look at me? Let's go, you'll see on the street. He'll say, that's it, I get it, I'm at fault. It's all quite simple. Everything is about strength. Everyone has their strength. If a girl loses herself, then he'll get audacious. It's really simple. Do you see that or not? That's why I told you. Calm down first, then ask questions. You don't grasp my words. Fate has beaten you down. Someone defeated by fate can't help neither themselves nor their daughter. That's why you should also pray. Aim for victory. Everything you've told me. That's called the scope of work. You told me about your fears. I have enough of my own fears. I live just like you. I just see it all. I pray and overcome everything. I know a guy. He deeply fell in love with a really great girl. He went to a relationship course titled How to Build the Right Relationships. And she went to the course too, and they had training at this course. They began to model, you see, to simulate. Psychologists simulate everything. They simulated a good relationship during training. So they did. He fell for her. But the girl listens to my lectures and the guy is from my community. She doesn't like this interaction. She asked me what to do. He has a wife and we are with each other. We love each other, but the wife doesn't. Actually, he doesn't love his wife. I won't go into details. The result, he's living with his wife and the girl married someone else and she's also happy. Everything got resolved thanks to prayer and the strength of spirit. But I never said anything bad to anyone. I said, don't worry, everything will be all right. Didn't want to upset them, just started praying. I explained to the wife how to do everything, how to behave so that everything would be okay. She did that too. I said what was the best scenario, ideal scenario. Forgive that girl, she's a believer. Start being friends with her. She did just that, can you imagine? She forgave her so deeply that she started being friends with her. And when the girl sees that the wife is being friends with her, immediately her conscience awakens in her heart. I've had even worse situations. A girl approached me. She says her husband is offering to live with 2 wives. He's already found the second one and says, either I live with the 2 of you or only with her. Choose, he says to his wife. She turned to me. I said, choose to live with 2 wives. He's done with you, but you can save the family. I asked, can you save the family? She says, how? I said, accept him with this other woman. Start enjoying her company, his company, enjoy everything. She said, what? And what will I become? I said, you'll become a winner. She asked, why? I said, because that girl won't handle it. You have something to lose, she doesn't. Why would she pay such a price? She says, I get it. And he brought that girl into the family. At first, initially, she was kind of okay with living with this man. She even agreed to be the second wife. How wonderful. No, you'll be the first wife, not the second. I'll be the second. Even better. A week goes by, and that one started to show her claws. But he sees everything. He looks and says, what's up with you? Behave yourself. You're the second wife and she's the first, or vice versa. Come on, behave yourself. She behaves well. She accepted you. What don't you like? She says, I can't live like this. Let's live separately. He says, no, you agreed us, so live with it. And that woman left. The first one outdid her. Such is our heroic strength. That's it. You say it's impossible. It's possible. People can show such strength, strongly behave themselves. Anything's possible. If there's a will, there are very simple ways. And there are other ways. Let's say your husband just started seeing someone, let's say. You know the girl. They have only just started dating. You found out about it. There's a very simple way out of this situation. Forgive them both. Then go to the girl and scratch her face. Gently scratch her. Lovingly. If they ask, what are you doing? Just say, I'm not doing anything. I'm just protecting my family. Look at my husband again, and your face will be bloody once more.
Audience, that's illegal, lecturer. Doesn't matter at all, for the sake of the family. By the way, there won't be any charges. Such cases are always justified. Are there any lawyers here?
I can tell you for sure this case would be justified 100%, because jealousy is clearly involved here, and a person can't control themselves. The same goes for men. I had a case with a man. One man, a very good person. A really good person. He listens to lectures, came to me and said, Oleg Gennadievich, my wife is seeing someone. I know exactly who that man is. What should I do? I said, you're a man. You know what to do. He replies, Oleg Gennadievich, exactly what I'm thinking. I said, of course. And how? He asks, when he's alone or with her? I said, with her, of course. He, so I should catch them when they're together? I said, yes. He, all right, okay. He caught them. They were walking, and he gave him a facial massage, an acupuncture. Screaming, you monster, I hate you. He says, I'm not a monster. I did it for your lover's feelings, so he wouldn't bother you anymore. Beat him up. She went home, all angry, but she stopped associating with her lover after that because she saw how he behaved. Whether he was ready to defend his love or not, she saw it. She saw that he was a weakling. Her husband gave him a good scolding, and that was it. She was quarreling, and then she forgave her husband, and everything was fine. She forgave? Well, don't you think she forgave? He's a real man. It only seems like she didn't forgive. It only seems that way. She saw what happened, and he also changed his attitude toward her after that incident. A woman always looks to see if a man is willing to sacrifice himself for her or not. And the lover was not ready. He said, you calm down your husband, or we won't see each other. She said, oh, well, then we won't see each other. Why? Because she sees that he doesn't protect her. He's not ready to give his life for her. Why would such a man be needed? Do you understand what I'm talking about, ladies, or not? That's it. Such situations also happen. If you managed in time, There's a movie magazine called Fiddle, and there's a story, it's a real story. A woman goes to a fortune teller. The fortune teller says, "Pay a little money and I'll enchant your husband so that he won't cheat." The woman pays the money. This fortune teller calls her husband's workplace, this was back in Soviet times, and tells the boss, "Your subordinate such and such is engaging in immoral behavior. Put him in his place, he's having an affair with your employee." "They had a meeting," scolded the man, "and he stopped cheating." The wife goes to the fortune teller. "Thank you, it worked." She sort of bewitched it. "Well, let's wish everyone happiness. Our time has run out." Everyone sit up straight. Strength is needed for everything, inner strength to be precise. There are different ways to solve the problem, but the main thing is to fill yourself with it. This is the main shortcoming. Learn to pray. Listen carefully to those who pray. Recite fervently like they do. Any obstacle can be overcome. You may think that in your case nothing can be done. But I saw a woman stop breathing. It was just a week ago. She was lying here just like in this hall, and we all prayed together, the whole audience. They were giving her artificial respiration. Her pulse had stopped, right under this music. I prayed and everyone prayed. She started breathing right in front of us. She started breathing immediately. There was no medical assistance at that time. This is evidence of how the human power of prayer works. Then there was no more prayer. She passed away 2 days later. But if everyone had continued to pray, she would have survived 100%. OG repeats with the audience, "I wish everyone happiness."